Hi, I'm Jaqueline P'ng and this is the evening highlights. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Razak says Malaysia's transformation has been phenomenal under his leadership. He says Malaysia's economy has been growing while fiscal deficit has been reduced ever since he took office in 2009. Najib points out that Malaysia's GNI has also risen by 48% and that we shouldn't lose sight of what the nation has achieved in the last 6 years. He adds that investment has more than doubled in the past 4 years, while nearly 2 million job opportunities have been created. And with fiscal deficit down to 3.4% in 2014, compared with 6.7% in 2009, he believes Malaysia will be able to achieve a balanced budget by year 2020. He says it was the tough measures like removing fuel subsidies and the rollout of the GST that will help the government achieve this. PKR's Rafizi Ramli will ask Parliament to set a ceiling price on 1MDB's energy assets. This is to prevent TNB from paying more than 8 billion ringgit for the plants. 1MDB, via its unit Edra Global Energy, had paid 12 billion ringgit for the facilities. It also inherited 6 billion ringgit in liabilities. Rafizi believes Edra had overpaid for the assets.
1MDB was criticised heavily for paying that 18 billion, for paying 12 billion, 3.3 billion above the market valuation of the net asset, as well as to inherit the 6 billion loan. That's the main criticism of the earlier transaction. Therefore, if TNB wants to acquire these assets, I think for the first time in our history, I think the Parliament must put a cap or a ceiling price by which if 1MDB insists on a price higher than that, therefore TNB is not allowed to proceed.
He will file his motion next Tuesday. TNB is one of 3 reported bidders for the power assets housed in Edra. Pakatan Harapan wants Tan Sri Zeti Akhtar Aziz's term as Bank Negara Governor extended by another 2 years. The coalition says Zeti has the fierce independence necessary to steer the economy out of the doldrums. PKR Secretary General Rafizi Ramli says Zeti demonstrated her impartiality through her handling of the 1MDB fiasco, and that's important to safeguard the economy.
It is very important to hold on or to at least make sure that our economy has steady hands to steer this. And I think with all due respect to the 1MDB saga so far, I think we have to admit that Tan Sri Zeti has done a remarkable job given the constraints.
His colleague Kelana Jaya MP Wong Chen adds that Zeti's monetary policies would be able to help control inflation.
It is important for us to fight inflation as the first number one enemy in order to get consumer spending back up. Yeah, so maintaining Zeti for another 2 years or supporting any extension of a term is good economic sense. We may have our disagreements with Zeti before. I had a disagreement before. I'm sure Rafizi has a problem regarding his case. But there is a bigger picture here. And the bigger picture is how to avert a crisis. And the best way is to acknowledge that she is respected worldwide. And her last few days, her last few weeks' action seems to show that she is some fierce independence left in her.
Zeti has served as central bank governor for the past 15 years. Her term expires next April. Hong Leong Bank's move to cut its workforce has the National Union of Bank Employees fuming. The banking group says it had notified the union ahead of its move, but NUBE, as the union is known, says it was not consulted as required by law. NUBE's Honorary Secretary General J. Solomon says Hong Leong has breached the collective agreement, which makes it a legal duty for the bank to recognize the union as the sole negotiator for its workers. He claims that the lender also contravened the Code of Conduct for Industrial Harmony, which lays down guidelines for employers during an economic slowdown. And he says this isn't the first time the bank has done this.
Late 2013, they also did the same thing. And those who did not take up the VSS, they actually forced them out of the bank. And at the same time, they started recruiting new workers into the Hong Leong Bank.
We have reached out to Hong Leong Bank, but none of the officials were available for comment at this hour. This year alone, CIMB Bank, RHB Bank, HSBC Bank Malaysia, Standard Chartered and Bank Muamalat have carried out voluntary exit schemes. All had consulted NUBE first. And that's a wrap for this edition of the Evening Highlights. I'm Jaqueline P'ng. Thank you for watching.